Chappie Fox, in your opinion, what is the hallmark of a truly authentic circus parade?
I think that having 6- and 8-horse teams pulling the wagons in the parade is probably first and foremost. I mean, wagons you must have, but I mean the extras. You have to have the horses. You have to have people in the proper costume. All of our drivers and brakemen on these wagons are going to have red uniforms and white pith helmets from the Spanish-American War era. We'll have a clown band and a cowboy band, a Wild West section, a children's section. All of these are elements or ingredients that make up a real, true, and authentic circus parade. But with all of that and no horses, I don't think we have a real parade.
Well, you're going to need something like 300 horses, Chappie. Where are you going to get them?
We will have 300 horses in the parade, and the big teams, the draft horses, we have 21 of these 6- and 8-horse hitches. They're coming from all over the United States. 2 teams are coming from New York, 2 of them are coming from Ontario, Iowa, Michigan, Illinois, and so on and so forth.
Well, we're standing in front of what was a ticket wagon in the circus. It's one of the wagons that you're refurbishing here. Certainly, painting the wagon in the original colors and sprucing it up is one thing for a display, but it's another to make this wagon capable of being drawn by horses down Wisconsin Avenue. What's the secret?
Well, you can fake a lot of things. When you have a wagon sitting on a floor for display purposes, you can use plastic wood to fill in holes in the wheels, broken fellies and spokes, and paint covers a multitude of sins. But those sins are suddenly exposed when you take that same wagon and put 6 horses on it and pull it down the street. So we have gone over these wagons with a fine-tooth comb. In many cases, we've put complete new lead bars on the wagons, new single trees, wagon poles. In many cases, we've had wheels rebuilt, and other wagons required that we shrink the iron onto the wheel, cut out a piece, shrink it down to a smaller size. We're doing things here in Baraboo that haven't been done from a craftsmanship standpoint for 30, 40 years. It's really quite an experience.
Let's talk about your career, Paul. You were a musician with the circus in the old days and rode in circus parades. What was it like then? Well, this is Lloyd the Llama here at the Circus World Museum. He's an old resident here, a permanent resident, and this is the cart that Lloyd is going to be pulling in the 4th of July Circus Parade in Milwaukee. Paul Lucky is, among other things, here at the Circus World Museum, a researcher, and he's studied the circus, and he's also been in with circuses. Paul, what's the story here on Lloyd?
Well, Lloyd is one of our old... Do you want to speak in here, Lloyd? He's one of our oldest residents. He's very docile. We take him all around to schools, use him for natural history lessons. He's appeared on many TV programs. He walks up and down State Street in Chicago like he owned the city. And it's most unusual for a llama to be as quiet and generally tame, so to speak, as Lloyd is. Because they're kind of on the order of a camel. They're, most of the time, just as ornery as they can be. They have a very defensive weapon, which is really offensive. If they don't like you, they spit at you. And if that doesn't work, well, then they probably try to take a nip out of you. But Lloyd is different. Maybe he's been here long enough that he's quieted down.
Well, what happens to Lloyd when, let's say, he goes inside the building and you have to take him up an elevator?
He doesn't do a thing. He just gets on the elevator. They tell me a story. I don't know whether it's true or not, but the last time they took him up 22 floors, he bothered the elevator operator counting the floors as they went by. It meant that there was a half hour between the...
Now what's the history on this llama cart?
That was built, in fact, one of the last parade wagons that was ever built for a circus. Back in 1934 for the Hagenbeck-Wallace Circus. You might say that in going back to the last of the little wagons that were built, to go back to the beginning when the circuses first started, they didn't have much money and their wagons were small. But as the circus owners amassed a certain amount of wealth, they started making larger wagons until they made these gorgeous ones like you see in the Lion Mirror, the Swan Wagon, and all those. And as the circus, the big railroad circus declined, I would say that perhaps their wagons declined too. Because here we are, the last of the big circuses, and here they're going back to a little bit of wagon.
I noticed, too, that this cart seems rather unique in that it has rubber tires.
That's, as far as we know, the only rubber-tired, soft rubber-tired parade vehicle that is still in existence. And as far as I know, this is the only cart that was ever built that is like this. Well, when I was with it, it was just about the end of it was the end of what we call the golden era of the circus. The golden era was really in the 20s, from about 1905 and 10 on through the 20s. But my circus was in 1938, and that's when things were really downhill. We never missed a payday, though, but sometimes it was deferred for a few hours. We ate well, and everybody stuck with the show. I enjoyed it very much. I'd like to do it again, but I was forced to say retire from the circus business. The parades, the show that I was with was the last circus that made a regularly scheduled street parade daily. And we made it daily. Rain or shine, it didn't make any difference. I remember Gunnison, Colorado on 4th of July. It started out a nice sunshiny morning. It clouded up. It started to rain. And I've got a picture of 4 inches of snow on the tent on 4th of July. But we made parade. Come here, Lloyd.
Lloyd seems to be anxious to get going. Tell me, Paul, I understand you played your cornet for the circus performers when there wasn't much of an audience.
Yes, every morning I was the most unpopular guy on the lot. I used to go out and play first call, going from one end of the lot to the other. That was a signal for the performers and everybody to get ready for the parade.
I think it probably does. It's the biggest possible historic display that the Circus Museum could ever put on, and we're certainly delighted to partake in this day in old Milwaukee and help put the national spotlight on Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and our own Circus World Museum.